Okay, so I just wanted to say at the front of this video, this isn't necessarily a negative video or anything. I just see a few posts about people that are finding the kind of limitations of the quad Cortex sooner than they expected. So I wanted to kind of explore what it is that you could do with the quad Cortex and build a meaningful rig. Now, of course, these limitations exist on other devices as well. This is not something unique to the quad Cortex. You know, there's things that a Kemper can't do, for example. There's things that a Helix can't do, for example, and there's things that an Axe-Fx can't do. It's about computational power or DSP or whatever, you know, stuff that I don't understand, but you do find that you reach a limit with these things. It's not like a dunk on quad Cortex or neural DSP or anything. It's just about exploring those specific things and trying to build this particular preset and showing you what the bounds are of what you might achieve if you were to do things in this way. So hopefully that comes across in the video. I just wanted to make that clear up front. Hi, my name's Cordy. It's been a little more than a week that I've had the quad Cortex. I know it's been controversial. Some people have said that I've been CGIing this thing. They said it's a Hotone Ampero with a new skin, but if you touch it, that would be very hard to CGI that sort of thing, you know? Anyway, right, so I wanted to kind of talk about some of the things. I guess we could do a little bit of a review or whatever. So one of the things that I've seen kind of on the group and stuff is that people, I think, had some different expectations, shall we say, about what might be possible in terms of running simultaneous delays and things like that. So what I wanted to do, I think, was set up a preset that is sort of like a practical dual amp preset and show you what is possible and show you, I guess, whether you would reach the limitations before you'd built a practical rig, if that makes sense. So we're going to put an amp on here, and I think it was requested to use an AC30 of some kind, so top boost. Then cab wise, I'm going to use the whatchamacallit, so I want a 2x12 UK 65. Done. Okay, done. And then down here I'm going to use a, well, actually maybe we should think about how we want to do this. So actually, yeah, I think this is the best way to do this. So each of these two lines, so like the Helix, one set of processors deals with this 1 and 2, and one deals with this 3 and 4, and you're actually limited in terms of how many reverbs and delays you can have. There's sort of like a memory limitation as well as a CPU limitation. So to have the most delays and reverbs possible, you're going to want to spread them between both lines. So that's, I think, why I'll be doing this. So I'm going to use a deluxe reverb here, and cab-wise, this one. So CPU wise, this is going to be fairly tame. So and completely silent. I'm going to start off with, we're going to put a tape delay on each. You can change where these splits are and where the joins are. So let's join back up here and set this out to 3 and 4. And the same on this one. So split and then out to 3 and 4. So now we should have some tone. So we got one tape delay on each, so I'm going to turn the wow up on that, and I'm going to change the split to be after the amp and cab actually. So okay, so what else could we do? I'm going to guess you're, like me, probably going to want a reverb on this if you're into ambient sounds. So I'm going to put on the modulated reverb because that's a really nice one, and again we're going to put this in the loop or in this split here. Okay, so now what else can we add? Can we add another stereo delay? So here is the practical limitations of what you're going to now find. So you can't now add another stereo delay on each chain, so you would have to make the choice of using a simple delay in mono or digital. No stereo now available, if that makes sense. So if you're thinking I want 2 stereo delays and a nice reverb, that's kind of where your limitation at the moment is, and then you can use things like a simple delay. So this might be something that some people might put a simple delay in front of the amp as well as after, and you could have that doing different stuff. So you've got the sync on. We could have like a dotted delay in front of the amp. And then down here, I guess we could have a mono tape delay if we wanted to, and let's just set that flutter way up and the wire way up, and the sync is on, but let's have that relatively fast, I guess. Where's the... So let's see, can we add another delay? You can probably add another, no, right, so we're now out of delay. So all I've got going on here is one stereo tape delay and one modulated reverb and then one simple delay, and then we're sort of out of, we could do a spring reverb if we wanted to on top of that, so maybe we'll just add that in as well on top. So Now we could add another spring. That's interesting. So it seems like the spring reverb is pretty light on the old DSP or memory, whatever. So spring is super light on the DSP if you're looking for lots of reverb, then that might be one to check out. But in terms of delays and reverbs together, practically you can run this kind of configuration and then on top of that some spring reverb if you wanted to. But yeah, hopefully that might be enough for most people's needs, I would suggest. But there's still, we can still run drives, and you can also still run other amps, although not on that particular one. Okay, so I can't run another amp on these lines either. So yeah, this kind of setup would definitely be possible on the Helix if you're interested in making that kind of comparison about what's possible on each device. It certainly would be possible on the Fractal Axe-Fx 3 as well. So in terms of evaluating what is possible here, although it's not like, this is not a ridiculous kind of rig, in my opinion, it's something that I would do on other devices fairly often. There's nothing too crazy about this, but we are running into some of those limitations at the moment. So that's, I guess, worth knowing. Now I can see how many kind of drive channels we can. Okay, and now we've come into some limitations here with the drives that we're able to use. So I could have potentially 2 different drives here. I'll bypass them for now. We've got slightly more free on here, so maybe I could have a tube screamer on this side. But again, worth knowing this kind of stuff. I guess this would probably have been useful for some people if other people had demonstrated these kind of limitations earlier on, I would say. So what else could we add to this? Let's look. Compressors, no. Pitch, no. Delays, no. A couple of drives, yes. Captures, no. Amps, no. Maybe EQs, no. So, gates, no. So although the CPU is reading what it's reading at 53, we're in the range of practical limitations here. In a preset which has a couple of drives, a delay, a simple delay in mono, an amp, a cab, a delay and a reverb. And we've got that for each kind of core, or however you want to say it, for each processing chunk. And although the CPU is reading 53%, actually there's not a whole lot you can do with this at this point. So I feel like that's 100% worth knowing based on the claims that have been made about what is possible, I think. Hopefully that kind of clears up some stuff. So this is 100% something that you could gig with, I feel, and probably for most people I think you will be able to do what you need with the Quad Cortex. But we're starting to reach with what to me doesn't seem like a crazy signal chain. So it's just a dual amp signal chain with a delay, a couple of delays and a reverb and a couple of drives. There's nothing too wild going on there. There are other ways that you could set this up, but in terms of spreading the delays and reverbs across the signal chains, I think this is the most efficient way to have that. I think you can have essentially 4. There may actually be more efficient ways that we could do this. So let me just save this. So for instance, here's what I might do on something like the Helix. I'm going to get rid of these. And I'm going to move this to here. And this to here. Then get rid of those. So instead of just creating double instances of everything, you want to potentially be a bit more efficient with how you're setting this thing up. So this goes to row 3 and 4, and then we want a split here, I guess. So I'm going to set the split here. Am I? I'm going to set the split there, but I want the delay to go before the split. And then we've got loads more processing space that we can do more with down here. So I guess we might be able to do, although we're still limited in terms of reverb and delay down here, that wasn't actually quite what I was expecting. So delay wise, we can still do simple delays. Okay, so that's not exactly what I was expecting either, to be quite honest with you. But we can do compressor. What else could we do down here? I'm guessing we could probably do a pitch thing. We could probably do some modulation. Dual chorus, let's just chuck that after as well. What else can we do? Tremolo. So we do have some more stuff that we can do down on this other path now, but we are still fairly limited in reverbs and delays, even with this more efficient routing, however you want to say it. That's quite interesting to me. I don't know if it is to you. So that's possibly something that some people might want to know. So that's a slightly more efficient way to run that similar kind of setup to before. So we could add some modulations to that preset, but in reality we can't really do any more delays and reverbs than we could with this setup here, which is interesting and slightly unusual to me. But so is that worth knowing or not? Do you think you're going to be able to do the things that you needed or expected to do with the Quad Cortex? I guess that's the question for you to answer. We could probably put some more reverbs and delays up on here though. Hold on, let me see. If we wanted to. What limitations have we got here now? We're back to... Yeah, that modulated reverb potentially is taking up quite a lot of... Anyway, so I think those limitations are worth knowing about, and it's not a negative thing, potentially. It's just something that you're going to potentially want to know up front so you can work around that. There are other ways to set these things up, so that might be what I might suggest if you're trying to do like lots of reverbs and delays in one kind of thing. But I guess as time goes by, we're probably going to find more creative ways to do this sort of thing, if that's what people are into, as more people get their hands on a unit. So instead of running just dual instances of everything, you might end up doing kind of this sort of thing. Whether that would be exactly what you might do, I'm not advocating for, you know. That might be the sort of thing that people end up doing. You run one of these signal paths into the other so that you split the processing across the two dual cores. I don't know, hopefully that was interesting to one person. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers.